Alright, can people hear me? What's up, everyone? Say something in the chat if you guys are around. So this is just gonna be like a test. I have no idea how well this is gonna work. My internet's not exactly the greatest. My computer does seem to be struggling a bit. Might have to do like lower resolution or something next time. We'll see. I don't know. Basically, the plan today was just to work on a track and show you guys what I've been doing. If anyone's got any like questions or anything like that, try answering them. Should be fun. Bit laggy. We'll just wait for a few more people to kind of show up, and then we can go from there. Let me know what it's looking like for you guys on your end. Is it super glitchy? Is it good quality? Yeah, let me know. So I can't really tell from my end at the moment. Let me know if you hear this audio as glitchy as it may be. I'm gonna have to get a new computer suit anyway, so hopefully that one will be better for streaming. Wait a couple more minutes before I get into some stuff. Yeah, it's just hard to tell. All right. Cool. People can just come in and out. Just drop something in the chat if you know you have any questions or whatever. Let me know how the stream looks for you guys. And yeah, I'm just gonna. I think what I was gonna do originally was just mess around with this track I'm working on, but I don't think that's gonna be the best way to go because there's just a lot going on in this track. Basically, this is my second track of the 52 tracks in 2020 challenge. It's like a liquid drum and bass kind of track. It's nearly done. I just was gonna show you guys some like mix down things and just like final tweaks that I can make. I've got it all organized and everything. So one thing I can show you at least, even though it probably won't work really well with playing it, is, and I'm gonna write an article. Oh, it's got a knife caught in there. I'm gonna write an article on this in the future. But basically, I don't know how well you can see that in my webcam, but I've got like this. See if you can see it there. Yeah. Basically, the idea is you have a notebook, and you know, as you're getting towards, and you can use this from the start as well. You don't have to just use it for the end. But if you have ideas for a track or ways to improve a track, whatever, I find it's helpful to, I guess, work from like making a list of things as you hear them, because when you start off an idea, you make very fast decisions and you normally head in a certain direction. But once that idea kind of becomes fleshed out into a full track, there's so many different paths you can take and so many things you need to do to make it like better, like mixed improvements, or you need to add in more elements, or you need to transition in a section better. So I find it's best to just make a list and write things down as you hear them, rather than going and fixing things as you hear them, unless they'll take like 2 seconds. Because a lot of things might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to actually go and fix, and then you'd be like, oh, okay. If I was in sort of like a flow throughout the production process, then I can kind of break that. So you just kind of listen critically once through, and then you have like a list of things to work on. I like that, especially it does work better for latter stages of working on a tune, but you can use it earlier for like cool creative ideas as well. Like maybe you want to try this instead of this, or try replacing this bass with another bass. You know, some of those tasks might take a bit longer time, you know, like finding a new bass sound or changing the chord progression. It might take a while to figure out, but just having like a list of things to try or do to make the track better. I find our brains don't really tend to work linearly, and they kind of go all over go all over the place, really. So yeah, I definitely would recommend doing that. Have we got anyone else in? What's up, Skate Alex? Let me know if it's how the stream's buffering for you, man. I'm not sure if it's good or not. Oh, awesome, man. What's up, Pedro? Yeah, good on you. Yeah, it's you know, I am really keen to see how many people stick with the 52 tracks in a year. Even just with their own goals, really. I am excited to kind of see how people go. Yeah. Audio seems to glitch in and out. I don't know. Okay. That's cool. Not sure if it's my internet or my CPU. Could be a combination of both, but I will note that down for next time. I might have to scale the output down to 720p instead of 1080, which wouldn't be ideal, but yeah, we'll see how we go. As I said, sometime this year I'll get a new laptop, like one that's way better than what I got now. It's probably to do with there's no actual dedicated graphics card in this one, so that's probably making it a bit strained on the built-in one, which makes sense. But yeah, so like for example, one of the things, like I've been basically every day I've been bouncing it out. So I got like one here, longing 2, longing 3, and I can just compare, you know, all 3 of them like day on day and see how they're improving. But then, you know, every day what I'll do as well is I'll go to SoundCloud and upload it there. Move this along there. And yeah, that way like people who are paying attention on my Google Sheet can keep up to date with that and whatnot. So that's really good. but yeah, every day essentially, whatever the work's done on it, I'll bounce it out. So like I've ticked off like about 15, 20 things on this list so far. So like there's a few things that I would need to go back and fix. Like for example, the crackle in the intro on the effects is like way too loud. Let's see if I can play it a little bit of it. Yeah, it's like that there. It needs to go down about 6 dB probably. Maybe even more. Yeah, about there. There's some bass sections in here where I'm like, okay, I alternate between like a kind of static sounding sub and like a wobbly sub. Like they're the same patch pretty much, except one has like an additional operator, or like oscillator, whatever you want to call it, and it's just slightly detuned by 30 cents or whatever the fine control values are, or the ratio, 30 ratio, whatever. So it just gives it this wobbly kind of sound to the bass. I'll play the original here, solo, and then you can hear the wobble. So like you can hear that there, right? I think what I was going to do is either play around with the harmonics here to make it less. Or at least like low pass it more maybe. And then we can kind of hear the difference. And I was also thinking of automating it, but you can't tell too much really in the context of the track. Maybe crank that resonance up a bit. Yeah, something like that, just to... Yeah, but you can't really hear that very well. Yeah, so then, like, obviously with that crackle, though, then you just kind of tick it off. Like, that's something that you can fix in, like, 5 seconds. Whereas the EQ on the wobble bass, you know, or maybe that, or, like, filtering on the wobble bass, that might take a bit longer just because you have to figure out, you know, what's going to sound better, etc. Cool, all right. Thanks, Pedro. It's good to know, man. Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch this stream and then kind of make decisions. Unfortunately, it seems to be a sacrifice between video quality and CPU slash like what my computer and what my internet can handle. I'm in Australia, so unfortunately, we're not the best country for internet in the world. Surprisingly, we don't really have a good infrastructure here yet. And my internet's been playing up all morning, so I'm actually kind of glad we got something reliable now. Had to move my Reddit around. But yeah, I will delve into some other stuff. I think I'm going to save this and I'll just work on some sounds, I think. I want to show you guys some cool sound design stuff for now. Like, I guess, ways to get more creative sort of effects and that sort of thing. So we'll delve into that once this is saved. Taking a bit longer. Come on. Yeah, cool. Let's make a new live set. So in the meantime, like if you guys have any like questions as to what I'm doing in this process, just let me know. I'm just gonna kind of mess around with a few fun devices, etc. See what we can come up with. Honestly, like what I end up doing a lot of the time to get unique, I guess, sounds, whether it's like a serum patch or whether it's a audio effect, you know, I'll just basically won't have any sort of goal. A lot of the time it's a lot of experimentation and then just kind of like with micro goals in between. So I'll kind of just start with like either, you know, let's say we're designing something in Serum for interest's sake, because a lot of you will use Serum, I'm sure. So let's say we're kind of wanting to make some really interesting pad sound. So the first thing before I even consider designing a sound, I'm like, all right, if I want some movement pad sound, and the first kind of thing that's come to my mind is I want the notes to kind of go all over the place. Actually, one really cool device I came across the other day, it's a Max for Live instrument. So if you guys are using Ableton, you can get this. Where is it? Oh, it's a MIDI effect, sorry. I think it's rotating rhythm generator. Yeah, so it's like a weird way of kind of getting... Oh wow, okay, that does not want to work. Yeah, right. So all the lengths of these notes are very different. So it is synced to the tempo. And you can kind of create like a cool chord. So like we could do like... These like different presets here. Anyway, that's like a cool... Use like some cool... I think I want to arpeggiate what's going on here as well, so like we can get some even cooler movement. So like if we add an arpeggiator after this rotate. And then we can use like a random. Move through this wavetable at like a slow rate. Maybe like have some sort of modulation on the... Maybe turn down these steps a bit, it's a bit high. One really cool device I've been liking as well, there's a lot of cool Max for Live sort of stuff. I'm going to pitch this down another octave, a bit high. And we can chuck an EQ on here. And let's check on some... modulating like the delay time. a slow one to do the feedback. And I think we need some like proper reverb in here, so I'm going to use vintage verb. Whoop, by Valhalla. One cool thing you can is like if we increase the semitones on by this one on by like -5 maybe, bring it up an octave. You can change the envelope of the sound as well. Let's bring down this reverb a little bit. It's a bit. I think I want to add some more echo. So just, as you can see, it just becomes like a very crazy sort of process of just figuring out cool ideas as we go. And then the other device I was going to mention was the, I think it's called Pitch Hack. Where is it? So you can like set it to some sort of harmonic interval, like -5 or -7. It's like a fifth or a fourth apart. And it kind of like takes grain samples and like pitches it down that far, and like you can hear what it does at 100% wet. I want to add some filter modulation to this as well. Add a reversed copy in. Detune it a bit. So you can hear we've got this really... Let's go to like... So this is just like a really unique pad, you know, like something that's not just like a chord. Obviously you could like do other things, like add some noise to it. Kind of feel like that high end. Go direct out maybe. Play with the pitch. go like some frequency shifter. Then one really cool thing you could do is like make a new audio track, set the input to resampling, just like record a bunch of it. And you know, let's like find a cool way of like putting this in context. So let's load up like some other instrument. Something like more that I can like program in some MIDI. So like leave a bit of an intro for a bit. Bring them down, bring this up. And the idea would be to like loop that section there. And then we can like make these into actual chords. So got them in a fifth part. Maybe pitch this one up an octave. I'm going to turn this note on so I can hear it on programming. Double that melody. Something like that, you know, and that's just like, it's more interesting to have that in the background there rather than just like some other sound, I guess, like that you could just easily program because of the amount of effects and whatever. Ah, cool, good to hear, man. Yeah, like hopefully you're getting something out of the course, man. If you have any questions, just like remember to hit me up. But that's awesome. Yeah. One cool thing sometimes I like to do as well, just to add some interest, is like take this sample and then like using the warping. Usually like tones, if you increase the grain size, sounds a bit nicer. Kind of blend it in. Blend it out rather. But you could go like down a fifth or something. Or up. Yeah. But I think I like just the one as is. Yeah, there we go, something like that. Doop. Then like just got some variation, and then you could even like start looping a particular section. Yeah, like that. Cool. So like maybe I'll show you how to like do some cool sound design stuff with simpler as well, in the context of whatever we're working on here. So one thing I like to do a lot is to just work with samples. So like find like some, yeah, like this is actually a really good example. Like boost up the volume of this. What's up, Dave? How you going, man? Got a few people on now. Cool. So like, yeah, one really cool thing is I like to use samples in a simpler or a sampler, whatever. Drum rack's fine as well. And just process them and make them into really cool effects. If you guys, any of you guys have taken the Lo-Fi Hip Hop Blueprint, you will have seen that kind of stuff in more detail as well. But like grain delay and stuff like that. Actually, yeah, this is one thing I would really like to use. I'll show you guys. Is the LFO. So you can like use the LFO to modulate pretty much anything. So we could use it to map this. We get this really whacked out effect. That's sick. And then I think one really cool thing you could do after that is like add some standard delay. Add some time modulation to it. See how it sounds through like some intense compression. Capture the MIDI there. Has like a cool little... The cool thing in this context, it's going to be different every time. But you could like, if it is going to be different every time, what you could do is like, if you want to copy paste the MIDI note, say, I don't know, like 8 times. The idea would be you could either just freeze and flatten this, but to visually show you what's going on, I will essentially just solo this, set this to resampling, and just show you what visually is actually going on. Gives it some time for the delay tail there to like echo out properly. Then you can chop these into individual samples and see which one you like the best. That one was nice. And then of course what you can do is like layer multiple in there. So I think I liked that one the best. So like do that one and then something like that. You could even like delay one slightly. So yeah, like that. Turn them down. Reverse a couple. Like if I wanted this one. I like this one. I'm gonna just add like 2 bars at the start there, just so everything's even. I can be a bit pedantic with that kind of thing. And then press R to reverse that sample. Move that forward a bit if you want. But one thing I will show you, like if this was a track that I was going to actually work on, I am like 100% okay with just using samples as is. I don't think you have to make everything from scratch. I think that's a bit dumb, especially if it already exists. I just like, obviously I'll make something from scratch if it helps me achieve my goal better, like of making something more experimental. But I could layer something in here in the background. You know, like this. Pitch it in. Something like this, and just like have it down in the background for like a little bit of extra. Maybe like I'd wetten it out a bit with some reverb, but honestly I don't even know. Like some maybe not shimmer, maybe just like some add some delay or whatever. To kind of space it out. So you can use samples as is in really creative ways without much processing either. Honestly, like the amount of processing I did on this thing up here, it was probably ridiculous. I've done even more sometimes, but like... And the other thing, like drum samples, for example, like that's probably one thing that there's just so many of that you really don't need to bother trying to, you know, like recreating drum samples. Unless, once again, there's a particular reason for it. Like, sometimes I might add like the tiniest amount of processing to something like this. Not a big fan of that sample. Actually, yeah. I think it's just sample selection. Honestly, I need to go through and redo my favorites. They're not always the best samples that I've managed to pick somehow. Let's go through like something I've gotten on Splice, for example, like something like this. I don't know. Oh. See how this clap sounds. It sounds cool. I think I need to shorten that a bit. That one's probably like a